So spicy and crispy and juicy, it just doesn't stand a chance.
Outside of McDonald's, the most famous and American of fast food restaurants is Burger King. And folks love Burger King, as much for their paper crowns as their flame-broiled burgers. But the people that have either worked there or spent time analyzing what happens to food inside your body all seem to come to similar conclusions.
Is there something wrong with you?
That there's a lot on the BK menu that isn't necessarily safe for human consumption. So let's take a look at some of the top things you should never, ever order from this chain.
And by the way, thanks for all the trash talk, guys. You just put Connor Jr. through college.
Ratings. If you really spend time looking into Burger King on sites like Consumer Affairs, you'll see that they have an abysmal record. They have a grand total of 1.5 stars out of 5, which is actually better than that of its rival and big brother in McDonald's, which has 1.25 stars. Now, you have to keep in mind that people that have decent to good meals don't think to themselves that they're going to log on to a site like Consumer Affairs, create an account, validate their email address, and then post a 3-star review of their Whopper Jr. Sites like these tend to appeal to people who have an emotional reason for jumping through the hoops that it takes to post. And clearly, there's no better motivator in that sense than anger.
Love. See you tomorrow.
Even taking that into account, though, it's alarming to see exactly why people are complaining about Burger King on that site, and that most of it boils down to food poisoning.
It happened. It happened.
Oh no! Don't you dare ruin that dress!
Sure, most restaurants will deal with food poisoning at some point, but of the 50 complaints this year alone, most were about foodborne illness. That's just nasty.
Did you just shut up!
Liking this video so far? Take a second to hit that subscribe button and notification bell. The secret menu.
What is the Whopper burger?
According to Wikipedia, the Whopper is a hamburger.
If you've spent any time online, you'll have heard the myth that every fast food place has a secret menu that you can order from. The reality of that is that employees can and do sometimes make non-menu items for themselves on break. But it's not like they actually have some company-wide secret menu for VIPs or something.
You know me, Snoop D-O-double-G, live and direct from the BK.
It's really just the fact that you can ask them to really make anything you want based on the ingredients that the store has. So if you want a Whopper Jr. with a veggie burger patty on top of it, you can order that, but it'll really piss off the employees. The reason for this is that it takes a lot of extra work to make something special that they're not used to preparing, and they have no idea how to price it. So basically, it's a gigantic inconvenience from top to bottom for those working at Burger King. So unless your idea of a secret menu item is a Whopper Jr. covered in human spit, maybe stick to what's on the board.
There you go.
Okay, thank you.
Cross-contamination.
You see that? Who is hoarding all this
We serve that.
It really must be both terrifying and exhausting being someone with a deadly food allergy. While you can save yourself by jabbing yourself in the leg with an EpiPen, thank God, the fact that you always have to have one with you, and also you have to make a big deal about the food you order everywhere, that just has to get old. Sometimes people don't really realize how much cross-contamination can occur in a kitchen.
A leg of lamb, blood. This is criminal.
Just watch any kitchen inspection on Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares. One of the cardinal rules that all chefs learn is to never have cooked and raw meat on the same or adjacent shelves. Bacteria travels, guys. Cross-contamination can occur in other ways, and there's one that you'd think that Burger King should be forced to fix based on the Americans with Disabilities Act. That particular cross-contamination happens because Burger King uses the same machine to make its fruit smoothies as it does its shakes and ice cream. So if you think you're ordering a vanilla ice cream cone and you're deathly allergic to things like grapes or strawberries, maybe steer clear and skip it altogether. The Burger King Veggie Burger.
Not sure what's on it either, but that first bite was really good.
The number one item that seems out of place on the BK menu is the Burger King Veggie Burger. Burger King is obviously known for burgers, so it may come as a bit of a surprise to many of us that they actually offer a veggie burger, which is basically a vegetable patty that's crammed full of chemicals in the hopes that it'll taste sorta like flame-broiled meat. The iffiness of those chemicals are one reason you shouldn't order the veggie burger.
Oh my god, it's so good. Are you crying? She's tearing up.
But there are a few more. Few people go to a place known for gigantic delicious burgers and order a veggie burger. That'd be like going to Disneyland and only riding the toilet. This means that the burgers that are made end up sitting under that heat lamp sometimes for hours, which dries out the already, we assume, super dry clump of tofu and sadness. Beyond that, apparently they smell awful.
Look at this sorry, miserable squashed thing.
According to a former Burger King employee on Reddit, whenever they'd microwave a veggie patty, it'd stink up the entire kitchen. Just imagine what that means when it's time for you to revisit your meal about 12 to 24 hours later. At least the chemicals blocked your body from actually digesting any of it. The Burger King fish sandwich.
The whaler doesn't get swallowed up by the bun like some others do.
You know who, yes, you know who.
Just like a lot of other fast food joints, BK has a fish sandwich on its menu. Like the veggie burger, the problem here comes from the fact that people just don't order enough of these monstrosities. And that means that if you're the type of person that really loves fish sandwiches from Burger King, we've got bad news for you. You're all alone. There's a reason that millions of people like eating at fast food places like Burger King and especially McDonald's. And that's because most of the food is prepared in batches, allowing the food to be, what's that word again? Oh yeah, fast. That means that sometimes you'll get a sandwich that's been sitting under that heat light for hours if you're ordering something that isn't that popular. And that is just gross. The Whopper Jr.
Hello?
Hi, is this Burger King?
Yeah, this is Burger King.
It may come as a surprise to hear that one of the more popular, at least in terms of name recognition, menu items is actually one of the top named things you shouldn't order at Burger King. Turns out there are more than a few people online who warn that you should never order the Whopper Jr. The problem with the sandwich comes from the fact that they prepare a lot of them, but people don't order enough for the times to line up correctly.
What can Clive Owen tell you about the taste of a Whopper that any other ordinary person couldn't?
Just listen to this confessional from a previous Burger King employee who, when talking about the Whopper Jr., said never, never, never buy the Whopper Jr. Not enough people buy them, so they just sit out and go bad. They take too long to make fresh, and managers get a bonus check when they have a low enough time, so they tell the workers to just use the super old ones that have gone nasty. Turns out the Whopper Jr. is less the prodigal son than it is the red-headed stepchild.
I am a big fan of 14 Whopper.
Anything from a Burger King on 420.
They're spicy, juicy, and packed just the right amount of heat.
Look, don't get us wrong. There's nothing wrong with smoking a little bit of weed during your time off. But while you have to empathize with the people working at fast food restaurants, it's never really a great idea to smoke weed while you're on the job. While Burger King employees aren't going into surgery or anything, if this video proves anything, it's that there are a few ways that if they don't do their job correctly, they can actually make people sick. Undercooked food can be pretty dangerous, as can poor worker hygiene, which can spread bacteria like E. coli.
You look...
Burger King is a huge corporation that takes what it does seriously, so it's actually pretty surprising to hear from Reddit user Kippersticks that not only were most of the employees high at work, but that it was something that the managers allowed. When asked about drugs at work, he responded, "Our managers were cool with employees going out to the dumpster area and smoking weed on break because it helped them work faster and be more focused. On a day like 420, that probably means everyone is blitzed out of their minds." Anything from a Burger King where they wear hats with pins on them.
From one king to another, this packs a real kick. Spicy.
Every so often, there are former fast food workers on the IMA section of Reddit who bare their souls and make you never want to eat food that you didn't prepare yourself ever again.
Does it look like spit to you? Yeah.
One such former worker from BK posted an image of his pin-covered hat as proof that he'd been there. Someone asked the typical question of whether or not the employees expectorated into the food. And while the former worker said that he'd never seen that,
I had the chefs take extra special care of it for you.
he said there was a guy that worked there who used to serve food that was dropped on the ground. A Redditor said, "We never had anyone that would spit in food, but we did have one guy who's the only one I've worked with that would pick up food he dropped onto the floor and still serve it."
Wait a minute. He dropped it on the floor and cooked it? What do you mean?
He's been there around 5 years now. Yuck. So yeah, steer clear of locations with those hats, because it's just not worth the risk, and we don't know exactly which one this Redditor came from. Eggs from Burger King.
It's morning, I'm hungry, gonna go to Burger King.
Beyond chicken, the #1 food that people think of when it comes to food poisoning is, well, I guess it's shellfish.
I think you have food allergies.
Oh.
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 Wow.
What?
but BK doesn't sell shellfish, thank God. So let's talk about eggs. While they're relatively easy to cook, there's something that seems off about ordering anything egg-related at a fast food joint. Unless you're ordering a breakfast sandwich with those weird circular eggs inside of them, because those are just objectively delicious and worth risking your lower intestine for. Anyways, when asked what never to order at a Burger King, a former employee of the King on Reddit mentioned the eggs, stating, "I'm not very comfortable with how the eggs are made in the morning. They have a piece of equipment that you spray nonstick onto and lay down the metal grid, then fill up evenly with this liquid egg mix, and bam, in about a minute you have 6 eggs. I realize a lot of places probably do that, but it's just so strange to me. Don't worry, guy, you're not alone. That's strange to us, too." Anything chicken related, especially grilled chicken at Burger King.
All this chicken and king talk swirling around out there. It's got me really fired up.
Perhaps this should go without saying, but you probably shouldn't order something at a fast food joint that, if undercooked, can either make you very, very sick or even kill you.
I'm fired up to try this new spicy, crispy chicken sandwich from this king.
When people think of foodborne illnesses, the first thing they conjure up in their minds is chicken. And so perhaps it shouldn't surprise you that former employees of Burger King have said that you probably should skip ordering grilled chicken sandwiches or salads, as they take forever to cook and oftentimes come undercooked. Beyond that, the chicken tenders and breaded chicken sandwiches also take a long time to make, which means if you're trying to actually get your food, fast, then you might want to skip anything chicken related at Burger King. An anonymous former BK worker said, "If you're really short on time, don't count on chicken tenders or grilled chicken sandwiches or salads being made quickly at Burger King. I remember that the tenders took forever to cook, and we didn't really make them that often. So most times they were made to order. Same for the grilled chicken."
There's no doubt I'm gonna destroy this thing.
We promise that we'll never make you sick or keep you waiting. So take a second to hit that subscribe button and notification bell. And why not stay right here and check out more great videos.